Hey, look at that. New game, guys. Anyway, hi. My name's Joshua, also known as Joshua if you like to call me Joshua, and today I feel like doing another rant video, but instead of talking about anything sentimental or anything about scalping or anything like that, I feel like talking about my favorite cartoons. Yes, that's right. I feel like talking about my favorite cartoon. That was very embarrassing.
Might seem a little boring,
Slappy, can you
but in
please shut up,
Sandman,
please?
anyone can be a spy.
Slappy,
All you need is
Slappy,
just scare
Slappy,
eyes to see the potential, and Quick Drop can make it happen.
Slappy,
I'll fill you in on how it works.
Slappy,
Let
shut the
me just...
fuck. Anyway, I'm sorry about that, guys. Slappy rudely interrupted my. I don't know who the fuck. Sorry, I don't know who Slappy is. I was talking about my favorite cartoons, wasn't I? Okay, let's talk about my favorite cartoons. Well, obviously, we all have a favorite cartoon, no matter if it's from your childhood or a random anime you've watched since you were 7 years old, because I'm a nerd. Anyway, but I want to talk about some of my favorite cartoons. I want to talk to the comments to see if anyone else likes these certain cartoons or any other cartoons that people find interesting. Well, I should let you know first that originally I loved SpongeBob SquarePants. Well, obviously it's like, well, that's the basic option. Yes, it is the basic option because, well, every kid that I know likes SpongeBob SquarePants. The only reason why people hate SpongeBob now is because Steven Spielberg's legacy has been being draining dry ever since he died. Let you know, the first SpongeBob movie was supposed to be the last thing SpongeBob related ever thought to be created. I'm not joking. But SpongeBob has a special place in my heart. I've always thought I was like him. Positive, reinforcing, trying to be a kinder person to people even though they're not kind to me. Sometimes I get grouchy, like a certain Grouch or Squidward. A lot of people say, well, I believe that Squidward relates to me the most, which makes sense because they're depressed and they don't want to deal with anybody and everything like that. But me, I'm more like SpongeBob or Patrick because I'm fat and I'm a dumbass. But anyway, I feel like there's a lot of fun moments that come from SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, there's literally a so-called condition called SpongeBobitis, which means that you keep on saying your favorite clips from SpongeBob SquarePants for no apparent reason. One of my favorite clips, or one of my favorite lines, is chocolate. I remember when they first invented chocolate. I've always hated it. Like, I love that. I love SpongeBob SquarePants. It always has a special piece in my soul that I will always cherish forever. It taught me about friendship, taught me about how to handle pressure when everyone's against you. Like, it maybe didn't teach you those values up front, like other cartoons I will mention later today, or later on in this video. SpongeBob SquarePants deliberately taught me these messages when I was younger. That's why I'm usually more kinder and more understanding to people, because you never know what a person's struggle is without knowing first. That's why some people get on my nerves when they talk about something they don't know what they're talking about. Like saying that you're not really fat, you're just big boned. Big. Actually, I kind of do. Shut up. Anyways, but other ways, yes, I love SpongeBob SquarePants because it taught me many values that I still hold to my heart to this day. The second one, well, I've already talked about this, talking about values in cartoons. Yeah, that's where we're gonna bring up the more educational cartoons. And you're all like, oh, God, he's gonna talk about PBS Kids. Yes, I'm gonna be talking about PBS Kids. Because guess what? My mother didn't want to pay cable, so here we are now. Before you say, oh, this reminds me of the odd ones out. Well, it's gonna be like that, but very, very much more shittier because I do not know how to animate. I just know how to rant. Anyway, my favorite cartoons from PBS Kids were either Wildcrats, Dinosaur Train, if anyone says Superboy is their favorite PBS kid show, shut the. Also, one of my other favorite cartoons, was Arthur and Cyber Chase. What all those four taught me was math, math, animals. You know what? Speaking about animals, let's just not overwhelm ourselves. Let's just talk about each cartoon in a very simple manner. Wildcrats is a show about two brothers, actual brothers, Chris and Martin. Yeah, Chris and Martin. Krat. Yes, these two are actually zoologists that teach kids how important animals are for our ecosystem. Originally, I knew them from Zaboomafoo. And if you don't know what that is, well, you weren't around for that type of PBS Kids back in the day. But it's basically the same thing as Wildcrats. It's just more puppeteered, like Jim Henson vibes. But Wildcrats basically taught me that every animal has a special place in its ecosystem. And disrupting that ecosystem, no matter if it's animal abuse, like destroying their homes, killing them and making them our food, it taught me a lot about how we should conserve our animals, even when our world is growing so much so that we feel like that we have to keep on growing our population. It taught me that these animals may seem mean, they may seem very, very harmful to us, but they're truly just defending themselves. Sure, I'm terrified of wasps, and honestly, I don't know why wasps were created, but hey, they're here for some reason. Anyways, Wildcrats has a special place in my heart because the animation just was so kid-friendly. It's not overbearing, it's not very, very harmful to your eyes because apparently there's child psychologists now. They're saying, well, there's a lot of flashing colors. It's not good developmental in the brain. Wildcrats is very developmental. It's not overbearing on the eyes. It's not about flashing colors in your face. It's about actually teaching you the conservation of wildlife. And I love animals. Animals has been one of my peak interests since I was a little kid, since Wildcrats, obviously. But let's talk about the next cartoon I mentioned, Arthur. It basically taught the same values that SpongeBob did, well, more openly. It taught us how to love our neighbor, taught us how to take care of others when they're in need, and how certain struggles hurt people, and how we could try to be more understanding and empathetic to one another. Arthur was one of those shows that felt like it shouldn't be so overbearing, but sometimes the emotional appeal really got me as a kid. Even shook me a little, gave me goosebumps. Like literally, I'm having goosebumps right now because I'm talking about it. Like literally, there was an episode about, I believe a lunch lady had cancer. I'm not even joking, you can look this up. One of the janitors was dealing with cancer, and we were learning about how cancer may be scary, but people can defy it. No matter if you are struggling with pain that they might, you know, I'm not gonna say what, but it taught us how people react to certain things and how you could learn how to be like them and how to do better. Like there was even a episode about sit-ins. If you don't know what a sit-in is, it's a practice that the black activists did back in the civil rights movement. I taught them how to sit just in a building and learn how to peacefully protest. Yes, there were other people that did peaceful protests except Martin Luther King. There were other people as well. I don't remember their name, but it wasn't Martin Luther King. It taught the same values as Martin Luther King, but really was truly ahead of its time. even though the cartoon's been around for about the same time as SpongeBob SquarePants. The next cartoon, Cyber Chase, well, it taught me a lot about math. And that's how I always excelled at math, because the topics they taught were actually the level that I was actually being taught at school. It taught me how to do fractions. It taught me how to do division, long division even. Sure, it taught me a lot of math, but it also taught me how friendship is very important to people, no matter what struggles they're going through. Like, it was one of those shows that had to last forever, because math is always evolving. Math is always quickly adapting to new equations and new, all that kind of stuff. It just helped me learn math so much better. And I believe the last cartoon I've mentioned was... Shoot, I forgot. Let's talk about a cartoon that people as kids made recently, or fairly recently, that I actually liked. Xavier Riddle and the Secret Museum. It actually teaches a lot about history, even some of the past history that some people don't like to mention. And I should change this spot, but it taught us how people overcome their own feelings and how we can learn from them to be better ourselves. That was a very impactful message to me. Sure, I was like 13 or 12 at the time, but it still taught me pretty recent, very good history. No matter if the future or then, it teaches us values about our past and how it could be better for us if we tried to work together. Arthur teaches the same values as well, but still, it's about how the cartoon taught me these things. That's why I like these cartoons. But let's talk about more actual cartoons. Not the educational stuff, you know what I mean? But another cartoon that I liked, that I was younger, and, well, I need to remember, because it's been a while since I've seen a good cartoon. Like, the generation that we got today, the generation of cartoons today, they lack that creativity they have nowadays. And it's truly upsetting about why it's like that, because if you don't know, well, I don't want to get into specifics, but that was cool, actually. I did not mean to do that, but that was pretty cool. One of the other cartoons that I liked when I was younger, okay, I need to think, because there's so many good cartoons. You know what? I'm gonna pick an underrated one, per se. I'm gonna say that I liked OKKO, Let's Be Heroes. It's basically a more kiddie version of an anime, per se. It actually was really cool. It was actually a really cool show. It was very short, but it was actually a really decent show. It taught us some value and some stuff like that, but it really also taught me how change can always happen on a dime. It just matters how you react to it and how you control with it. It's about rolling with the punches now, not rolling about them then, like I said earlier, in an earlier video. But obviously, we gotta go through my favorite shows on both Nickelodeon and, sure, I said SpongeBob, but I want to pick another cartoon that is good on Nickelodeon as well. But I want to pick a cartoon, my favorite cartoon from Cartoon Network, and of course, it is either Courage the Cowardly Dog, or regular show. I say Courage because that is my first ever cartoon memory I've ever had in my brain. Like, seriously, when I was like 3 years old, when I had my first conscious moment in my life, I watched Courage the Cowardly Dog. And it's like, isn't that scarring for kids? Yes, it is. But for some reason, I didn't react bad to it. Well, I don't remember reacting bad to it because, well, it might have been a scarring memory and I don't remember, but I remember liking that stupid dog. He made the old man look bad every single time. And I loved it. I loved that show. It was really good. And also, we gotta talk about Regular Show because obviously it's one of the GOATs of Cartoon Network. There's no discussion about it. Like, seriously, Cartoon Network was ahead of its time. It was such a good show. And when they got when they made that new show, the new Files or something like that, I was excited to watch it. But I'm gonna keep that later in mind because I know I want to watch it. But apparently, it's less censored than it was for the original, because apparently the original one was actually heavily censored. I'm not joking. It was heavily censored. But I loved those Cartoon Network shows when I was younger. Oh, Billy and Mandy, The Grim Adventures. I love that. I love that show too. Oh my gosh, there's so many great cartoons. But let's talk about one of my other favorite Nickelodeon shows. There's a fair few that I like. I don't know where to start per se because there's generally a lot of good shows. There's either My Life as a Teenage Robot, Family Odd Parents, or Rugrats. Those three shows I have fond memories of. Sure, I barely remember a lot of my teenage life as a teenage robot because it was cut short, which is unfortunate. But Rugrats was a show about these babies that go on these imaginary adventures that turn out to be in the real world, and there's Bratty's sister. We all have Bratty sisters. If you have a Bratty sister, like this video. I believe her name was Angelica. Yeah, it's Angelica. She was such a I'm sorry, but she was an absolute, you know what. Like, seriously, I probably have to do a lot of censoring in this video. I apologize. But there is a lot, seriously, a lot of bad memories I have of Angelica. She was so bratty, but when her mom got on the show that one time and told her about, you know, being a businesswoman, what would you do if an employee wouldn't do what you say? Angelica literally cried because she was like, "Are you gonna fire me, mommy?" I was like, "Oh my god, wait, I don't think now." Sorry, I had to make the joke. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, look. Sometimes you gotta abort to different options, okay? I'm just saying. Sorry, again, sorry. I'm just saying that the brat had it coming, like, but, My Family Odd Parents. Let's talk about that next. Because that show was actually a lot of fun. I remember all the Goofy Avengers, Cosmo, Wanda, and Timmy Turner get on there. When Poof came around, I was like, okay, that makes sense. And then I'm like, wait, what do you mean Cosmo gave birth? I was like, isn't the woman the usual one that gives birth? Yes, I was thinking this when I was like 13 years old. Sorry, not 13, 7, because apparently I was taught the birds and bees too early. So, actually, when a daddy fairy and a mother fairy love each other very much, the father fairy has to grow an egg in their stomach for 9 months, and then Poof there comes poof. You know what I mean. So I want to actually hold up. There's actually one last cartoon I want to talk about before I end this video. It is obviously my favorite cartoon of all time. I was like, I thought it was SpongeBob SquarePants. No, I just haven't watched it. My actual favorite cartoon is definitely Total Drama Island. Yes, that show was so fun. Even though it was filled with crude humor, that show was so cool and so fun. I loved that show so much. Sure, there was a lot of weird stuff going on. I was like, wait, what do you mean this is happening and then that's happening all of a sudden? Like, it's a cartoon version of a reality game show. It's like The Amazing Race, for example. If you ever watched The Amazing Race, please do not watch it. I'm joking. You can watch it if you want to. But all I'm saying is that Total Drama Island had a lot of different shows, variations through its seasons. But my favorite one was probably the first one, because you can't top the original. Like, I remember fond memories of me playing Roblox and playing a Total Drama Island game somewhat, and I won 2 times. I was like so cool because guess what? Owen won the show, which he was my favorite character because he's fat and dumb like me. And I personally love this show for how it felt. It's kind of weird as an American. My favorite cartoon show is a Canadian-made show because if you don't know, Canada actually made, or Canadian producers actually did make Total Drama Island. And when they made the remake, I was like, they're probably going to botch it. I was like, yep, I think they botched it. Because the main reason why I believe they botched it is because I brought Kai Cenat into it. I was like, what? Wait. Like, literally, I found Kai Cenat literally on the Total Drama Island Instagram page. I was, like, so confused. I was like, no hate to Kai Cenat, but I was like, that's kind of unprecedented. I was, like, so confused. I mean, Kai Cenat does remind me of a Total Drama Island character, just saying. But anyways, that is my favorite cartoon of all time. Those are my favorite cartoons of my time. PBS Kids, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network. But if you have any other favorite cartoons, please put it down in the description. Yeah, actually, should I go for the obscure cartoon? Because they're probably going to be like, oh, you picked all the safe options. Team Umizoomi? No, that's pretty memorable. Wonder Pets? Maybe? I mean, I did like Wonder Pets. 15 minutes of thinking later. I don't know. Ooh, there's so many. Oh, God. Samurai Jack? No, that's very memorable. Only reason why it's memorable now is because there's a lot of YouTube shorts about Samurai Jack. Clickbaiting, you know. It's very, very hard these days, so you have to do YouTube shorts to fix that problem. I think I got it, maybe? But in my head a little... No, not that show, shoot. What kind of cartoons are there? Well, I try to think about a obscure one, but I can't. So, I'm sorry about that, folks, but thank you for watching this video today. Please like and subscribe if you like any of the content that you see here for another rant video. But if you don't like any of these rant videos, please comment about it, because I'm not sure if you guys like these rant videos or not, because guess what? I got my first ever likes on my first rant video I've ever made. So I am making rant videos that I feel like they will personally be my own. But if you guys have any topics about that I could possibly talk about, please put it in the comments below. But thank you so much for watching today's video. God bless, have a wonderful day, and let God bless you on the time of need. Thank you so much, and please subscribe to this YouTube channel. Have a nice day.